Hopefully you enjoyed your Thursday. I'm just going to say two words right now. Buckle up, because this one's going to floor everybody. What if I told you that if Sophie Cunningham, the WNBA's social media darling, closest thing to a pinup girl that we have in our modern day social media, would approach me and say that she wanted to date me, I would kindly and very politely decline. And now you got to be looking at this and saying, Jason, have you lost your mind? Do you need a mental exam? Do you need a drug test? Well, you can give me all the drug tests you want, because I would pass them with flying colors at this point. But that said, why? Why would you take this insane stance? And I will sum it up in one word: standards. She actually doesn't meet mine. I don't care how hot looking you are, and I'm not going to lie. Every red-blooded American male right now would argue that she is one fine looking lady, and she has a massive, massive amount of social media following amongst the men. I like her basketball game tremendously. She's defended probably the meal ticket for that sorry league right now in Caitlin Clark. She's come to her defense physically, and they've both been physically assaulted on the court by very hateful opponents. So that part of things, that part of her package, I completely admire. But here's the thing. From what I know, she hasn't gone through the adversity and overcome the severe level of adversity in her life that I have in mine. Now, if there's something out there that is discovered along the way that proves me wrong, then awesome. There's also the age gap difference. She's like in her young 30s right now, and of course I'm 53. Not an impossible situation, but it would be a difficult one. But I need somebody in my life who has undergone really the fires of hell. She got attacked on court and had her ACL and MCL all torn up by an opposing player. I, on the other hand, can raise her with a near-fatal TBI, of which the recovery from has been a lot more of a difficult road than even an ACL injury. And that's pretty hard too, She's gritted that out as well. But also because of my faith, I firmly hold on to no sex before marriage. Her past history indicates that she's not like a 304 or anything like that, but she doesn't align with that value either. And so there's a sharp difference in that as well. But the reason why I need a woman who has gone through all of those types of trials in life is because my past has had one who didn't understand me on that particular level. Not her fault, but I mean, my former wife grew up with very traditional parents, and a very normal type of childhood. Again, you're not going to be able to understand somebody who was raised with such turbulence, alcoholism, and abuse in the family growing up, and of course the near-fatal TBI put that over the top. And of course, you've also got my involvement in what is widely recognized as one of the largest cults in American history in the form of the International Churches of Christ. I can't speak for what the ICC is like today, because a lot of it has, I'm 20 plus years removed from that. And so I have not been really in touch with anybody there, and I don't know exactly what that thing is like, so I can't speak about it today. But I can speak about it from 2004 and before. And in which case we're talking about a dangerous, cult at that time with 120 plus thousand members, led by one of the biggest narcissists I've ever known of, in the form of Kip McKean. And having gone through all of that, and having gone through a period in that group where I somehow managed to have an alternate life away from there that they didn't know about. I had a second life in the late 90s. I got to know a lot of people who I probably didn't have any socioeconomic business knowing. So I'm looking for somebody who has not only gone through a lot of adversity, but has made victories out of hers. Just as I have for myself. I don't need somebody who's just going to be wallowing in pity over having gone through adversity. I want somebody who's overcome it and has a history of fighting through the gates of hell and coming out victorious. I don't care how hot they look. Although let's get real here for a minute. If she happens to have those standards and happens to be an attractive woman, that's a bonus. But from what I've read about Miss Cunningham, she doesn't meet my standards, so I would have to politely and very kindly decline, while everybody else out there calls me clinically insane. But again, looks are not everything. They get the attention of men. But it's character and how much of an asset a woman can be that makes the man fall in love to begin with. As famous as she is on social media, I can't see Sophie being that kind of a woman. I can't imagine that opportunity, that situation would ever arise, but I'm throwing it out there to make a point. And that is, as much as being hot and being gorgeous, and physically highly attractive seem to matter to most men, it shouldn't. It should be a bonus. Maybe an attention getter for somebody who does meet those standards. So men, if you're watching this, make sure you set strong standards and vet for those. Of course, I'm writing a book right now called Stop Simping and Start Winning. These points are chapters 2 and 7. And I'm taking a 4-day weekend here. We have a holiday in the form of Veterans Day on Tuesday, and I took a day off on Monday. So I'm getting a 4-day weekend to really put some effort into the manuscript of this book. And I think I will even share this particular analogy in it, because I think it's very important. Simping, of course, is when men put a woman on a pedestal and put her needs and attention above his own. It's very bad. I know also on the socials that I've seen, Sophie definitely has a lot of simps, probably by the hundreds of thousands of men who just will sit there on her Instagram, TikTok pages, etc., and just say, "Oh, you're so hot. Marry me." Social media simping. I don't know about real life simping. I don't know what her immediate circle is like. But guys, if you're doing this, I'm going to implore you in the book, stop. Looks do not mean everything. They mean something. We're hardwired by God to be drawn and attracted by physical appearance. But it should not be the end-all, be-all. So yes, if Sophie Cunningham were to, for some unknown reason, approach me and say, "I'd like to date you," I would have to politely decline. So, fire away in the comments below. Helps me out. But fire away in the comments below if you think I'm really just nuts, or if you happen to agree with this and this resonates with you. I'm going to leave it at that. Hopefully you enjoyed your Friday Junior. Tomorrow's the real thing. Folks, stay safe, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace out, homies.